Now it's recording. Alrighty. So I'm just getting the question box set up, and now we're back in business. Okay. So today's session is all about content. Again, you guys already know the rules in terms of how I will be running this. Any questions you guys have, you put in the question box. If at any point in time you have a really complex question, you can either type it in the box or just make note of it, and I can catch up with it at the end, so that I can take you guys off mute. So everyone is currently on mute, as you know, and I know you're all gathered together in meeting rooms. So hopefully you're all nice and cozy and warm and making friends. And so there's someone in your room who is tasked with providing a question. So if you have it, you can have them type it in, and I will answer it as soon as I'm finished babbling on about what I'm talking about at that point in time. And again, at the end, I will do a little round robin, one room at a time, and go through and see if there's any questions that you guys might have, just sort of as a group. Then I'll stop the recording, I'll render the recording, and send it over to the managers to disseminate. Okay, so that's how we're going to run today. It is just after 2:30. This runs until 3:30, so let's get this fun and dandy party started. Let's see what we're going to cover today. So organic reach, organic reach is so hard to get these days, and it's actually getting harder and depressingly so. So organic reach, so there's three types of reach that you can get: organic, viral, and paid. So organic is, say, if you post something on your business page and it just goes naturally into the news feeds of the people who have liked your page. Okay, so that's what happens. Someone likes your page. They're basically subscribing to your Facebook page, the Facebook news, if you would have that done that way. And so organic is just they liked it and you posted something and they got it. Ta-da! Viral reach is if, say, for instance, I like your page and it comes into my newsfeed, and then I tag someone. So I tag, say, my sister. I'm like, oh my gosh, Sarah, you're going to love this. And it goes, I tag her. Not only does she see it, all her friends see it. So that is called viral reach. So she's not, my sister is not part of the fan club of your business page, but she's connected to me. And because I tagged her or shared it with her or pushed it to her timeline, she and now her friend network are able to see it. So that's called when things go viral. That's what you want to have happen. Very, very common occurrence for listings because people like them so much. And then the third one, which is one we're going to be visiting very, very soon, is paid reach. So this is, for instance, what you guys are probably most familiar with is like boosted content. So you post something on your business page and then you pay to have Facebook push it out to as many people as possible. Okay, so those are the three different types of reach. The one that I'm going to try to overcome the challenges for the most out of today is organic reach. And I've got some new, rather bad news to share with you about the organic reach side of things, which will make the ad side of things that much more interesting to you. Okay, so we'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to explain the algorithm I keep talking about. It used to be called EdgeRank. It's now called the newsfeed algorithm. And it's important for you to understand that, to know how is it that you can get the highest organic reach possible, even based on the most recent changes flowing through Facebook lately and going forward. We're then going to go through a bunch of tactics you can use today to absolutely blow the doors off of your reach and your engagement. So it's not even just reach, and I should probably throw in that word as well. It's also about engagement. It's about people engaging, liking, commenting, sharing, really involving themselves in your content. And that's what your ultimate goal is, because that's where conversations happen. Okay. And then the last piece of the puzzle is a scoring system called Likealyzer.com. Every single one of you that has a business page today, which today should be every single one of you. Yeah, all right, good. I just know you all said yes. And this is the benefit of you guys all being on mute. I can make up your answers. It's fantastic. So because you're all on Facebook at the business page, Likealyzer is a system you can use to give yourself a score 1 to 100 on how well you're ultimately doing. It initially gives you sort of a synopsis, a summary, but you can go a little bit deeper. It's a totally free system, and it's one I use for every single client. So whenever I have a meeting with somebody, they say they want some help with Facebook, I look up their page, I go into Likealyzer, and I see the current state of affairs, because it'll help me figure out how much they know right now, where their gaps are, and where I think I can help them from the get-go. Okay, but for you guys, it'll help you to say, okay, am I winning or losing or neutral at this Facebook content game? So, as you know, if you can't measure it in my world, if you can't measure it, you shouldn't do it. And this is allowing you to take content, which initially can be very difficult to measure, and figure out, a score on how well you're ultimately doing. The other thing is next week, I'm going to be going through the insights. So once you kind of get going with your page, or you're kind of revitalizing it based on what we're talking about today, you can now blend the Likealyzer feedback and information with what Facebook is telling you is ultimately working on your business page or not. So that's next week. And then again, the final 3 weeks is all about ads. And I'm so excited to share with you what's going to come up next. I get so excited. I get just super pumped. Okay. First, I must frighten you. This very nasty thing here is the news feed algorithm, and it's created, it's an amalgamation of 5 different pieces, and I'm going to be breaking these down one by one so you can understand what exactly these things ultimately mean. So, interest is the first one, post, creator, type, and recency. So each one of these things contains, each one would have between 50 to 30,000 data points that it would be analyzing, that is then aggregated into an overall score. The Likealyzer score gets you as close as you can get to getting into this actual algorithm. Facebook does not publish this stuff very, very widely. They allow us to see this much information, but they hold a lot of it really close to their chest. But suffice to say that in terms of what ultimately leaves your page when you post it and goes into the news feeds of your fan base, they review 150,000 pieces of data to determine whether something's going to shoot into someone's newsfeed or be ignored. And again, a quick recap on interest profiles. Every single one of you guys has a different interest profile, and it's based on words you use, pages you like, groups you belong to, websites you visit, words you say when Facebook is on. That should creep you all out if it hasn't already. It's comments that you make. It's how long you spend on certain types of content, how many videos you watch, and you can actually manipulate what goes into your newsfeed by over-indexing on a certain topic. So for instance, say you went into Facebook today and saw a bunch of cat videos, and you watched like 50 cat videos. Well, the next day, guess what's going to be in your newsfeed? Cat videos. All right. So, and conversely, if you say, never want to see something about politics again, the next time you even get an inkling something is about politics, whip by that thing as fast as possible. Do not pass go. Do not collect 200. Don't stick around. Just move on as fast as you can, because the more time you spend on that content, the more Facebook thinks you're reading it, you're interested in it, you're watching it, and therefore it changes your interest and behavioral profile. Alrighty, so that's basically how the interest and behavioral world looks on Facebook. It changes dynamically based on your behaviors and what you're doing on Facebook and outside Facebook too. But in terms of as a business page owner, you need to be able to try as best as you can get your content into those news feeds. So today we're going to talk not only about sort of pulling this thing apart, but also talk about what kind of content people are looking for and ideas that you can use to get people to engage with you, not just read it and then just move on. I like to say that 90% of Facebookers are what I call lurkers, creepers, and stalkers. They come, they look, they leave, and they don't stick around, and they don't say anything. About 9% are a contributor, so they will post and stuff like that, and only 1% are actual creators of new content. So as opposed to just sharing new content. So contributors are people who share content, so they create viral content, or they're commenting on stuff that's going on, or they're reacting. Okay, so with 90% of people not exactly exhibiting strong behaviors to engage with your content, today we're going to be talking about how you can actually spur as much of that as possible. Okay, so let's first of all make this thing a little bit less scary, or a little bit more so depending on how you look at it. I like to think that understanding the rules of engagement make things easier. So it's tantamount to if you wanted to play a sport, you got to know the rules so you don't score on yourself. right? So that's what we're going to do it. Okay. So the algorithm, as you can see, just before we dive in, is what I call the content killer. Okay, I hate it because it makes it really, really difficult. And because Facebook continues to make it tighter and tighter and tighter in terms of how much gets out, I become very frustrated and sometimes, kind of edging on discouraged. But I like to overcome these obstacles by figuring out a little bit more about how the rules work and then circumventing those rules with new and better tactics. And that's what we're going to do today. So the first of the 5 is called interests, and that is how interested is this fan with you and your stuff. Okay, so the level of interest could be determined by whether or not they're your friend. One of the things we looked at last week is inviting your friends. And I always blank on whether or not I actually did that. So as a quick recap, you go to your business page and there's 3 little dots right under the cover photo. If you click on those dots, you can scroll down to where it says invite friends. Now, I don't recommend you invite your friends until everything is built and you've got at least 10 pieces of content. But once you have that, one of the greatest gifts you can give to yourself algorithmically and also just from pure engagement standpoint, and to make sure, kind of strokes your ego by not having 0 fans, invite your friends, right? So invite all of them. The worst they can say is no or ignore you, and not everyone's going to say yes anyway. So, but the more friends you have, the tighter the correlation for affinity that you have with those people. And then affinity is kind of part and parcel of the interest score. The words are used interchangeably. So if I'm your friend and we're chatting all the time and we're like, oh, we're so much good friends and this is great and you like my pictures and I like yours, tra la 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 la. And then I also post stuff on my page with which you interact, then our correlation, our score, our interest score is going to be very, very high. And the more of those high score interest people that you have in your Facebook page, the better your overall performance is going to be, because Facebook's like, okay, like you're really jiving with this whole Facebook ecosystem, you're interacting with people, and that's good. So the other thing is, are people interacting with, the content before? And this is becomes really, really important, because what you've done in the past will actually affect what you have going further. This one little tidbit, this one bullet is less powerful in this part of the algorithm, but we're going to see it come back and rear its ugly head again later and show just how important it is that you're consistently posting stuff that is going to get people to like, comment, share, and react, and show interest and have them to stay and watch or read or something like that. Okay. And there's tactics I'm going to share with you soon that's going to show you how to do that. So again, I bring up here that everyone has their own interest profile. And so because of that, and because everyone is so varied and it's always changing, variety is what you're after. Okay, so I taught this course yesterday at one of my getting started classes at the Toronto Real Estate Board, and like everything comes down to variety. So here we're talking about variety of topics. Later, we're going to talk about a variety of type of posts that you're going to put in. So when you think, even how long your content is, you have to vary that too. So nothing is ever always do it just in this way. The rule is variety of types of content, because if you only post about real estate, listings, open houses, blah blah blah, I'm bored. So please don't do that. But if that's all you post about, that's only going to go in the news feeds of people who have an interest correlation with real estate, listings, and open houses. You're going to completely miss the boat of people who are interested in things like community, home value, right? Maybe events that are going on around town and that kind of a thing. When you post about all of those things, you hit all of those different interest groups. And by doing so, you ensure that your content goes into as many news feeds as possible. And so that's why, you often have heard, I'm sure, that you should never just post one topic day in, day out. And it hurts me when I come across pages that do that, because they're really doing themselves a disservice. Okay, so understanding interest, understanding how that works is imperative to the success of your ultimate content program. Okay, next up. This one is the post. So this first one was interest. This one is post. This is defined as this post performance versus other posts. Okay, so this is where it says going to rear its ugly head again. Facebook knows to the millisecond how long people spend on your content versus other content. Okay, so again, it's the idea of if you never want to see something in your newsfeed, whip by it as fast as you possibly can. Do not linger. If you like that content, then, or if you watch something for a longer time, Facebook thinks you like that content and they'll show you more of it. And so this is why video becomes really important, because what do people do when a video is playing? They watch it, which means they're sitting there watching this thing for however long either their attention span is, their interest rate level remains, or until your video is ultimately over. Okay, it's got stickiness to it. And so again, it comes back to, that really hilarious thing that I told you guys when I was live with you a couple weeks ago, that if you don't like video, the solution is shoot it, don't watch it, just post it. No one cares. You look great, sound fantastic. Because the more you do that, A, the more comfortable you're going to get with it, and B, the more people are going to engage with that particular content. So it doesn't even have to be long videos. It could be 10, 15-second snippets. Say something interesting and then get out. But ultimately, that's what you're looking for, because how long people linger on your past posts, how much engagement they provided in your past posts, will affect the one that you're just about to send out. So you're typing away, and as you're typing away, Facebook's like, oh, they're going to try to post something. Wonder how they're going to do. And they basically go retroactively look at your old stuff and see how well you did. Okay, so consistency is really important. So never just sort of fluff something off and just kind of just to get something out there. It's never worth it. Best to say nothing than to say something that's going to actually harm you in the long run. Okay, the next one is creator. So that is how much has anyone liked your particular stuff in the past. So again, we're looking at it's just not just the post that you've got going out, but with yourself, like, and with your friends. And this is where sort of like the friends and the fans kind of blends together, and becomes this very important piece of the puzzle. So it's almost, again, this algorithm seems like it's sort of 5 individual pieces of content. It's actually, they all very much interweave together. So did the fans in the past really, this is where engagement, so the post is really about sort of lingering and spending time. The creator is sort of the engagement side. Did they like it? Did they comment on it? Did they share it? So again, your past posts affect your future posts, and consistency is what's going to save you in the end. So it's consistency, it's a little bit of planning, making sure that you're being careful about what you post, so that in the end you come out ahead of the game. And again, in the analytics side, we'll be able to see how well you're able to do that. The fourth piece is type. And this again is where variety comes to the fore. How many types of content are you posting? Video, link, photo, slideshow, carousel. These are the different types of stuff that you can post. If you remember last week, we have that send message button, or that call to action button. You can create a post that includes that button in it. We're going to go and see that in just a second. And I don't know if you guys saw the post from my business page today. Now that we're talking about seeing posts from a business page, but I gave a little tip yesterday on how to add a send message button with the post that you put out there. And the reason that's important is, say, for instance, I use an example that I did I think a week ago. I shot a video about my lead gen stuff, and it was a little 1-minute jobby. And so I uploaded that video to my Facebook business page, and I added a send message button to it. And in my message on the post, it was like, here's a video I have on lead gen, blah blah blah. This is great. If you want to know more, click send message below. And there's the message button. And I got like 5 messages from this thing within half an hour, because I made it as easy as possible for people to do so. And that's what Facebook really rewards you in doing. And it's not necessarily doing that on every single post that you do, but it's showing a variety. So doing a video, maybe posting an article, sharing a photo. I've seen a ton of people posting today that the interest rates of the Bank of Canada didn't change. And by the way, that's great. But what the heck does that mean, right? There's no, for all the realtors I've seen posting that today, no one has said And that means that, blah, 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 blah. Because even though you guys know of the impact that a rate change will have or a no change message will have on the market, John and Jane consumer don't. So it's an opportunity for you to post a link, or even if you want, post that information in the form of a photo and then explain it, right? Help people to understand, give them context and be instructive. I will tell you dollars to donuts that what people are looking to their realtors for is it's an answer to a very broad and simple question, and there are usually many answers to it, but it's simply, what do I do? Do I sell? Do I buy? Do I wait? Do I rush? Do I rent? Do I lease? Do I buy? Like what do I do? And again, that can be applied in so many different situations, which goes in your favor, because you can post something about staging, and you can show two photos, before and after. People love that stuff, right? Take before and after pictures of everything and post it on your Facebook page. Why? Because people love it. They love to see it. And then you know what it is? It's proof of your value. It's proof that you do super awesome work and that a home does look better and more ready to sell. So if you're, say, offering your staging as part of your services, paid or unpaid, like that's totally your call as a business. People want to see it. They want to say, well, like, because I can look around at my house and I'm kind of going, it's good enough. But you can come in here and say, no, sweetheart, that really, no, we're going to stage it. And I'm like, well, can you give me an example? Having an example like that can be really, really helpful. Okay, so take some videos, either whether you're in it or not, links to articles, photos. Again, slideshows are really easy to put together. I'm going to show you how to do all these in just a minute. But what I'm doing now is helping you understand just how important it is to post a variety of things. I think I've mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again because it's topical. Videos have 5 times the organic reach of anything else you can post on Facebook. That said, I would not suggest that you post only videos, because now you won't be adhering to this part of the equation. So I know you're all dying to run out and shoot like 5 videos a day and just like plaster your Facebook page with videos. Reel that enthusiasm in just a little bit and post a photo or a link or a slideshow instead. Okay, so the other thing you can do is that second bullet, and it took me a long time to get to that second bullet. But the call to action posts that you can do are extremely powerful and relevant. And this is one of the tips I'm going to be giving you today that all of you should use. Like, if you have a listing and you want your content to do something, you want people to be able to not only comment, but you want to give them a chance to comment privately, because not everybody wants everyone else to know that they're interested in this home, right? They might not want their friends to see that they might be thinking about moving, or their family, or whatever. And so giving them the option to not only comment publicly, but also privately is gold. And I'm really excited to show you about it. Videos and slideshows, I already told you how important they are. Slideshows, again, if you're still not up to the video work, slideshows work second best because they move. Okay, and so when something moves frequently in the news feed, it makes it really easy for people to to catch their attention and to be drawn to it. So slideshows are pretty awesome too. Photos are the standard. They always do well. Photos with people do even better. Photos of happy people celebrating do the best. So when, if you are celebrating something, whether you got a really nice thank you from a client, or you're celebrating a team achievement or a brokerage achievement, or like whatever, like seriously, if you can celebrate getting a haircut, it would be great. You'd be surprised at how many people would care that you got said haircut. Right? The only thing you should avoid is just posting words with nothing else to go with it. It'll go so far, and you can usually get away with that on the personal side, and get a ton of interaction. But on the business side, you really need to make your stuff colorful. Visual content is what's really winning the marketing game right now, and video content is quickly taking over. It's just visual is usually a little bit easier for people to pull off. There's maybe even just less production involvement in there. And then the last piece of this puzzle is what's called recency. And that's simply the last time you said something. The worst thing you could do is post in bunches, 7 posts here and then 2 posts there and then 3 posts there with like days in between. you're going to kill your page because Facebook wants consistency, and you want to post consistently every day, at least once a day. And that usually makes people very sad. But I mean, if you want to talk about best practices, then you're actually talking about twice a day. And you don't irritate people by posting twice a day, because if you recall, this wonderful algorithm is trying to make it as difficult as possible for you to get content to appear in the news feeds of your target audience, because they want you to pay for ads. That is their goal. That's what they want you to do. And what they do is they basically create an environment in which you have no choice. And that's one of the changes I wanted to mention to you, because last Thursday we got wind that Facebook's doing this wonderful test. They've rolled it out in 4 countries so far, where organic reach for business page goes to 0. And we're all kind of really, really hoping that they don't do that. But it is a possibility, and so we have to kind of prepare for that possibility. It is not the reality right now. Your reach for your page is still going to get out there, and it's not a guarantee that that particular rule is going to be rolled out universally across all countries in the world. They have tried and tested stuff before that they did not roll out. And so let's all cross our fingers and hope that the Facebook gods don't do something that's going to punish us quite so severely. Okay, so the best thing you can do is post every day, be consistent. When we look at our insights, it will be able to identify to us very clearly whether or not you are posting regularly or not. And when we get to Likealizer at the end of this, you're going to see it's going to give you a score. It's going to give you a number as to how well you're doing and how often you're posting, and then it'll give you some ideas as to what you can possibly do. So the basic rule, post at least once per day. If you can swing twice per day, that'd be even better. I'm going to be showing you how to do scheduling. So I don't use scheduling tools on Facebook. I don't use Hootsuite, Buffer, Meet Edgar, or anything like that. City Blast, obviously that's for real estate agents. And the reason that I don't do that is because even though Facebook says it won't punish you for putting out posts from these third-party sites, they do. They just don't give you any organic reach at all. So if you say, once a day is, a pretty daunting thing, because it's tough for you to come up with something like every day, sit down and just kind of go, what am I going to say today? You can actually sit down maybe on one day a week, plan your content for the full week, and then schedule it to come out on those successive days. I'm going to show you how to do that so you can see how easy it is. And when you use the native scheduler on the Facebook platform, then you don't suffer from any of the problems that you would get if you used an outside source. Okay, so you can use Hootsuite and that stuff for any other social network except Facebook and Instagram. For Instagram, it doesn't even post for you automatically. It just gives you some sort of a reminder. Okay, so let's keep going. So the personal edge rank, and so this is the edge rank again, is the newsfeed algorithm, and on the personal side, it does exist. Okay, so if you have 100 friends and every single friend says something today, only 17 of them are going to see. So you're only going to see posts from 17 of them. Okay, on the business side, today. Okay, page means business, so business page today, before Facebook really kills us. If you have, say, 100 fans on your business page and you post something, 2 to 3 of them are going to see it. That's why if you only post once a day, it's really not enough. If you look at a lot of the pages that are killing it on Facebook, they usually post anywhere from 3 to 4 times a day. Now, that sometimes takes a village. There's usually more than one person who's posting on those accounts, but ultimately, Facebook is definitely becoming a pay-to-play environment. It's not entirely a pay-to-play environment, but it's getting awful close. So I call this screwing the algorithm, because I think that we should not be held hostage to these rules. I like to find out ways that we can get around it, or to maximize that 2%. And the stuff that I've been able to do with my clients is turn 2 and 3% into 20 to 40%, simply by using the tactics I'm going to be sharing with you today. So it's not just enough to be there. Is to be there using the right tactics, using the right words, at the right consistency, so that you achieve the results you're looking for. And that ultimately is leads. Now, quick word about leads and content. If you are using only content as your source for getting new leads, you will, but it is a long game. It's typically anywhere from 18 to 24 months before you've gotten enough awareness, reach, engagement, trust from the people that have liked your page before the leads really start to roll in. Now, some of you may say, no, I started my page and I sold a house the next day. That's great. That's an anomaly. Typically, it takes a little bit longer than that. So I'm just being super realistic with you guys. That's why for a lot of the people that I manage accounts for, not only do we do content, but we also do lead ads on top of that. We actually layer multiple ad types when we manage sort of someone's entire Facebook ecosystem. The last 3 sessions of this the 6-part series, we will cover that. I will tell you the strategy that I use, simply because I want you to be able to do it yourselves. Like, yeah, sure, I can do it if you want me to, but if you want to do this yourself, I'm going to give you all the tools that you need to be able to handle it very easily and very simply for your business. Okay, it's all of matter of saying disregard the majority of the stuff that you see happening on Facebook and just do these things. Okay, so the first one is these super awesome, exciting call to action posts I keep babbling on about. They allow you to create a call to action button, and there are multiple buttons you can actually use for this that go on your post so people can interact with you ultimately. Okay, these buttons allow your content to do something. Okay, so that's like when you get leads, you need a conversion system because you need your leads to do something for you. Same with your content. You want your content to have they provide people with the ability to do something. You want them to contact you. You want them to react. You want them to share. You want them to comment. You want them to do a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, the call to action posts will give that call to action button that you can say as an instruction, and you should do this. When you're typing in your stuff, like even if it's a new listing and you're trying to add the sort of the send message button, I'm going to show you how to use. Okay, you want to say, like, hey, here's a new listing or a new home for sale, even better, in, blah, blah area. So Burlington, Milton, Georgetown, here's some information. Remember, don't give away everything. There's some information. And if you want more, send me a message. The message button is right down underneath the picture, which is exactly where it's going to be. So if someone wants to comment publicly, great. If they want to message you privately, they can do that too. So that's making your content do something for you. So I have, as you guys know, a book now button on my page. I can do a post and I can promote that post so that people can instantly book a call with me right into my calendar. Okay, that's me making my content do something. And again, so you can kind of get the idea, right? So the call to action posts are absolutely fantastic. Photos and videos are absolutely king, okay? And the reason, and especially photos that have words in them. Now, if you want to boost a post, so I'm kind of getting ahead of myself talking about ads, but I know this is something very familiar to realtors where you post something and they try to boost something. Photos don't boost well because you can't have words on the image. It violates the rules on the Facebook ads policies and it won't go anywhere. You'll actually get rejected. So, but the nice thing about photos with words on them is people stop when they read them. So one of the things I do, if I'm posting a tip or maybe it's a quote I really like, I'll post it on my business page. And then instead of boosting it, I will share that to my friends because a lot of my friends like those kinds of things. They're posting them all the time. And I think, well, you know what? I'm going to post this on my business page, but I'm going to try to, get some of that viral content by sharing it to my friends and seeing if they can also would like to, like, comment, share, react to it. And the interaction from that actually gets fed back to the original post on your business page and it shows there as engagement. So you can actually help your content along, not necessarily by boosting it, but by intermittently sharing it with with yourself on your personal side. So it's like you're taking your business information and sharing it to your friends, and that's okay. Because one of the balances that I propose to people, because they're like, well, do I talk about myself on my page? Do I talk about my business on my personal? Like, what's the balance? What I like to do is a 75-25. On your business page, it should be 75% about the home, about real estate, and about, everything that you're trying to be an expert about. 25% of it, however, should be about you, not your private life. That should never appear on Facebook or any social network in the world. Okay, private's private, and like honestly, we love you, but we don't want to hear anything more about you. What you want is to have the 25% be about your personal interests, right? You have to make sure that you are telling people things that you like. So for instance, I would post something about being a motorcycle rider or a scuba diver or something, right? And you do that because people like to see the human behind behind the page. And that's why I actually trained some people. They were CTV producers, and they were talking. I was training them on how to use Instagram and Facebook and stuff. It was super fun. But what I told them to do is I said, you really need to do behind the scenes stuff, like what's happening and what people are doing. And they're like, but that's so boring. And I'm like, to you, it's boring. To us, it's really interesting. And so, so post about that stuff. Post about, sitting, having a coffee at your favorite coffee shop and maybe tag the coffee shop. Post some photos if you're out for a walk with your dogs. Everyone loves dogs, right? And so when you do that, you really help people to see more about the person behind it, and that gives them something that they can engage with, right? And so the 25-75% rule is one that I follow religiously. And so on my business page, it's 75% business and then 25% personal. And it's the flip side on my personal. It's 75% personal, but I allow myself 25% of my content to be about what I do. Why? Because it's part of who I am, and that should be totally okay. All right. So, but videos and photos, those are the kinds of things that you can share onto your personal side that people will find them interesting. Okay. So, videos and photos, colorful, they're super engaging, particularly videos. And if you're posting photos, the more you post, the more Facebook thinks you're celebrating and they give it a boost. Now, that's not posting photos sequentially. I'm talking about you have 4 photos and you post them all at once in one post. So kind of Facebook will create a collage. When you post more than one photo, and I'll show you in a second what I mean. I've got a little example here, and I can also show you live if you wish. When you have more than one photo, Facebook's like, oh, wow, there's more than one thing going on here, and you must be celebrating something. Therefore, we're going to give you like super crazy organic reach. And basically anything that is in around the celebration side of things is what's going to make your stuff go viral. And I'm going to be sharing with you some tactics in just a minute on what that can look like and how you can use them. Okay, if you're going to do a video, so there's a strategy for video ads, and there's a strategy for videos as posts. Generally speaking, you want to make it 30 to 45 seconds long. Now, you may have a longer video and you can post it. Just remember that after about 30 seconds, everyone's attention span starts falling like a hot rock. Unless what you say is like super interesting and it's a story, or I don't know, like there's reasons people will watch. But generally speaking, 30 seconds is the demarcation for a steep drop off in viewership. So say what you got to say in 30 seconds and, then you're done. Like surely a 30-second video shouldn't be too daunting to you. Again, the first time you do it is always kind of weird, but you get used to it. Make it informative and make sure people can hear you. So I like to use my phone. I just use my arm. When I was with you live, I looked at that gimbal thing that one of the gentlemen from the audience shared with me, Patrick, and that's not too far away from you, but it's stable and it's got good sound. Shoot 30 quick seconds and then you're finished. For photos, you want to make them bright, you want to make them inviting. So don't make them dark, don't make them all, washed out or anything like that. You want to use bright colors as much as possible, because if you use faded colors, you fade into the background and no one can see you. And so it's really important for you to make sure that you stand out within the clutter of what people are getting in their news feeds. And that's very tough. Not only just because the algorithm makes it hard, but now once you get into someone's newsfeed, now you're competing for attention, and you get attention by making something bright, colorful, impactful, and trying to get people to stick around. Do include photos of you and your team. Take a picture of you guys doing a strategic business section, planning for 2018. Take a picture of you guys staging a home. Take a picture of you putting a sign in the lawn. Take a picture of a really crappy day that you're seeing from your open house, or the cookies that you baked so that people can come eat them. I'll come. I love cookies. You'd be really surprised at how many people really like to see what you guys do going about your day. And if any, because and I belong to a lot of real estate groups, and sometimes, realtors will get derided, like, well, who cares? You're having another coffee. You know what? It's not the realtors that you're really trying to get to be interested in what you're doing, unless you're going for a referral pitch. It's the consumers. And quite frankly, if the people that you're attracting through your sales funnel on your Facebook page are mostly your consumers, and they like that content, like, knock yourselves out, right? Haters gonna hate, but they don't have to, but that doesn't mean you need to change. Do what works for you and do what gets you the best response possible. Okay? The most common thing that people do is they post links to articles, and that's fine. But sometimes people get really super lazy, and that's all they post. And links actually get the least reach of any of the types of content that you can post out there. So you do yourself a grave disservice by only posting that stuff. Okay, so variety is the spice of life. You want stuff that moves and stuff that is ultimately very, very bright. So I've got some instructions over here. I'm going to go through them quickly, because what I really want to do is go live with this stuff and show you some examples of what I was just talking about. And I just checked my time. I realized I have less than 20 minutes left. And I want to make sure I go through it all, because it's really important for you guys to know how this works. So to copy and paste an article, you find the article, copy the URL at the top, you paste it into the status, and it's going to sort of appear down below the status area where you write your words. Those are basically two of the same things, so you can delete the URL from the status update section, because that rendering, that image, that will be a live link right below it anyway. Again, I'll show you guys quickly in a second how to ultimately do this. I want to show you how to do all the different types that I have been talking about. So here we go. I'm going to go zip over into Facebook. And so here I am on my business page. You guys should be able to see that. These are the call to action buttons. So you can see there's multiple different kinds that you can use. This one here is to share a photo or video. Advertise your business. This one is going to be trying to get you new fans. Don't run these, because in session 4, I'll be explaining the ads and which ones you should use. And so I'll explain which one of these ones you should do. So advertise your business, that's what it is. Creating an offer, most of you can't do that. So I usually kind of leave that to the side. If you want to do a live video stream, you can do that here. For me, my little call to action button is book now. So I can use this one here to get bookings. If you want to generate phone calls, you can have a live link to your phone number appear here. If your call to action is just to get messages, you can also use that one. Helping people find your business is getting people to check in, and most people don't usually use that. So one little trick that I found, if you click on this one for getting up a photo, you've got all these different options: photos, album, carousel, slideshow, and so on. Most of you are going to use the photo. So if you click on photos, let's say I want to go to, oh, poops, hang on a second. I usually have this up and ready, and images, and I'm just going to go to whatever. Okay, so I have this photo. Okay, see down here, this post includes a button so people can reply in Messenger. Oops, I just clicked it off. Here it is right here. So add a Messenger button, bam. Now in here, I can say, say something like blah, blah, send me a message. Okay, and then tell people to click below so they know where this send message button is. Alrighty, so the add messenger button is here. You'll know that it's activated when it's blue. So these ones that are gray have not been activated. If I click that off, okay, so click it, it's showing it. If I click it again, or if I click on the X, that takes it off, and you'll see that it's gone gray. If I want it back on, I simply click it and it's blue. So that's how you know that the message button is going to appear, and it's going to say send message. Alrighty, really, really great opportunity for you to do that with a listing. Now, if I went up here, I'm just going to show you how this works. So if I went up here and I tried to add a photo from here, so all I did was I clicked on the status update, there's no option for me to add that send message button. The only way you can get that send message button to appear with your content is to click on this square first. Okay, you click on that square, you upload the photo or your video, whichever one it is, and then you click on this button to make the send message button appear. Say what you need to say. You can publish it or you can boost it. Okay. Now, this other thing I want to show you is about scheduling. Remember, I told you you can manage your time. So let's say, for instance, you're having a quiet open house, or it's a quiet afternoon or morning. I know you guys like never have them, but just pretend. And you want to prepare your post for the rest of the week. You can say, so say this is one of them, and you want this to come out tomorrow. You click on this arrow, choose schedule, and then you just say, okay, I want this to come out tomorrow at whatever time, right? So say it's 8 a.m. There's no best time to post on Facebook. You're just going to have to test a whole bunch of different times and dates and then see what the data tells you. I mean, Facebook will tell you that people are most engaged between 1 and 3. Likealizer will also tell you when people are most engaged, so you can still get information from them. Here's another really cool one. If you have a listing and it's closing and you do not have permission to market it once the home is closed, you can click on this little button here and set a date into the future. So say, for instance, it closes November the 30th, and you want that to be at like 1 a.m. Okay, so I just typed in the 1, I typed in the letter A. What'll happen is on November the 30th at 1:16 a.m., this post will disappear. And this is really important because some realtors will have clients who are like super anal about their stuff not appearing in social networks. They will go do a search on Facebook, and if they find a post, even if it's buried, months behind, they could get really cross at you. Okay, so once you're ready, you simply hit schedule, and then at October 26th at 8:27 a.m., it'll appear, and November 30th at 1:16 a.m., it will disappear. So that's a really cool tip, one that I highly recommend you guys take advantage of because it's a really awesome option for you. Getting bookings and getting phone calls, these are also two options. The challenge I have with getting bookings, so I use a system called Appointment Core, and unfortunately, that's what appears down here, and I can't edit that. So I tend not to use that particular call to action button because I don't really like what it says here. But depending on what your call to action button is, that bottom box here will be a little bit different for you. So you kind of got to work with these and see if they work with your system. The other one I want to show you, the last one, is getting phone calls. So if that's what you want people to do. So the default here is my cover photo, but I can select whatever image I want. I'm just picking random pictures at this point. So if this is let's pretend this is the front of a listing, and your call to action is, call now to book an appointment. Like say for instance, you have like a VIP session before an open house. Click call now to register for the VIP. You might do like drinks and cheese. I don't know if you guys do wine and cheese. I think it's controversial to do that, but snacks. It's snacks and cookies that you're offering in your VIP. There might be some giveaways that you might be giving away, or what have you. Whatever it is that you want to share with people, for which the call to action button is to call now, that's what you would use this for. You can see that it's telling you what the phone number is. This is the phone number that you put in your about section. So the one that you did last week, where we built the page together, that's what the phone number is going to be, and you can't change it, not from here. Okay, so it's actually, you know what? I lied. It's going to be whatever phone number you put in this call to action button. My apologies. Which is usually the same one, but yeah. So the get phone calls number that will appear when you use that post will be, if you're using call now here, it'll be that phone number. If not, it'll be whatever number you put in your about section when you built your page. Okay, so those are some of the really cool ways of using those call to action buttons. If you want to attach a link, so let's just go to National Post. I'm just going to pick, whatever article here that, let's just do something about Amazon. Let's try not to depress ourselves too much. Don't even worry about the title. I'm just showing you a process. So let's say this is an article you want to share. Say it's about mortgage rates or the interest rate not changing or what have you. You go up to the top here, you right click on, so you highlight the URL, you right click and choose copy. We go back over to our Facebook page, and where it says write something, we click there, we right click again so we can paste that URL. And so what you're going to find, just like I promised, is this is a link to the article, and you see it's got that little hand, so it shows it's a live link. And this is also a link, but you don't need it because they're duplicates. So erase that and say something about this article, okay? This is where you say something about, like, what does it mean? Like, why should we care about whether or not you've posted this or not? What does it mean to me? Does it change anything for me? And so on, okay? You can add additional photos, but you can't change the original photo. So usually I just suggest kind of leaving that alone. But that's how you attach an article, and that's how you do photos and videos and using the call to action buttons. And those are the majority of what I do. One extra little tip if you want to create a photo and you want to make it look really pretty, you want to make it look like a quote, you can see that I use canva.com, so canva.com, and you can choose a whole bunch of different templates. And if you click on the more, it'll actually give you the full list. But like this is an example over here of one that I did. Where I was training another team. Shh, don't tell anybody. But want to know how to pick the right Facebook ad? Bonus, I'll show you how to use a message ad. I wanted to say that, but I wanted to make it in a picture. So if you wanted to share a quote or a thought or a saying or a tip, Canva can be a really cool place for you to go and create really cool images. As you can see, there's a bunch of templates over here on the left, and it's free. As long as it says free. If you see this little dollar thing show up, it's $1. Like literally, if I wanted to buy that background, I could pay $1 and I could get it, or I can upload my own images and create my own picture. So whether you're trying to create, a YouTube thumbnail or a Facebook cover or a social media post, canva.com can be a really great resource for you to make it quick and simple and impactful, because visual content saves the day over and over again. Okay, so that's really what you can use that for. All right. I think I have explained all the different little pieces of where we are so far. So the last little bit of what I want to share with you, just a few more slides, is some more ideas. I've talked to you about variety, I've shown you how to do it, but now let's talk about the words that you use and some of the other tactics that you can employ to get people to engage. It's not just enough to get them to look at it. You want them to do something with it. You want them to engage with your content. And like I've mentioned before, anything congratulatory is going to do wonders, right? It's going to, like, congratulations, celebrate, woohoo, yay, yeah. Anything like that is going to go far, because Facebook loves to be a positive place. So I know, like, I don't think I mentioned that before, that the word, like the term fake book, is true. It's actually also part of their algorithm, because they only want to disseminate happy things. And so you can help yourself by also trying to share happy things. Congratulations to my clients on, the purchase of their first home. This is an example where, they're terrible pictures, so I apologize for that. But I wanted to give you the idea. I uploaded 2 pictures. I threw in the word congratulations and gave a little bit of context. Sometimes your clients are cool with being in those pictures. Sometimes they're not. Don't worry about it. But the important thing is to look like you're actually celebrating it. So use things like exclamation marks. You can use things like emojis. And to get emojis to show up, I know the Mac solution for that, I think I shared this with you, was Control Command Space. You hold those 3 things down, and then all of your emojis will appear. Still working on a solution for PC. So this is the second time I've mentioned it today, and so I should probably look that up. There's got to be a shortcut that PC users can use so that they can access the emojis, and I'll look into that. But regardless, even if you can't use emojis, use all caps, right, to really bring attention to something. Not for the whole post, but just for part of the post. Like even just using congratulations in all caps, right? So anything celebratory is really going to go far on Facebook. But you also have other options like questions. Facebook actually tracks how often you ask questions by how often you use the question mark. And so the more you ask questions, then the better things work out for you, because people will actually respond. And so you can ask things like, what was your first car? And you can ask things like, where did you go on your first trip? Um, and you can do stuff like that that can really engage people, and they'll answer these questions. What's the first thing on your bucket list? What are you reading right now? That's the most recent question I saw a realtor ask. It could be, where are you going on? Are you going anywhere for winter vacation? You may or may not want to ask that, because then they're going to tell you, and then people might break into their houses, and then you might feel bad and responsible. But you get the idea. One of the comments I saw once a long time ago was, how old were you when you bought your first home? And I remember there was a conference for realtors, and someone on stage said you should ask that question. I wasn't at this conference, but after the seventh realtor asked me how old I was when I bought my first home, I'm like, did I miss something? Is there like a run on people needing to know how old I was when I bought my first home? But so the good thing was realtors were listening. But the interaction on those questions, even though I saw it like a gajillion times, every single realtor that I saw that posted that had like 50 comments on it. So yeah, they're innocuous questions. Are they going to sell a house for you? No, but what they will do is show that you're interested in people. And so whether it's what's your favorite flavor of ice cream, or how old were you when you bought your first home, or moved up, ask questions for people because you're showing interest. You can also do other things. You can do fill in the blank. Fill in the blank. Blank is what I love to do most in this winter, or blank is what I'm looking forward to most this winter, or this spring, or this holiday season, or whatever. There are literally thousands of these questions, or these fill in the blanks, that you can come up with, and they're fun and they're easy. They require me to answer one word, right? If I choose to use more words, well, that's me choosing to do so. But usually for fill in the blank, it's a single word. You can post about trending topics. Just be careful not to post about politics or religion. That usually goes sideways in a New York minute. But if something is important, like say a trending topic now would be interest rates. Okay. And again, throw in some context, show like a little bit of depth to your knowledge. You guys are a highly educated bunch, especially the ones who are here today, because you're participating in this, and you're learning. So show that makes a difference, because the John and Jane consumer don't always see that. They think that all realtors get the same training. Not all people think that, but a good number of them do. But when you can really stand out. So again, all the realtors I've seen today said the Bank of Canada rate is staying the same. Whoop-de-doo-da-day. What do I do with that information? Okay, fine. Do I feel better? No. So make me feel better. Make me feel empowered. Make me feel that you're providing instructive content. One word to describe and caption this. You can have a ton of fun with this stuff. You just find really weird pictures and you can post that. I once saw someone say, caption this on something. It looked like a safe that was pulled up from the Titanic, and it was actually someone's furnace. And I was like, no way. And I still remember that. And honestly, it was about 4 years ago, and I remember that picture. I also remember the super ugly kitchen that another realtor posted with one word to describe. And I was helping him at the time, and I watched as 850 comments came through over a 6-month period. It was that ugly. And so, you can have a lot of fun with this kind of stuff, and to be a little bit weird and be a little bit out there, and don't be afraid of, putting stuff out, like caption this. And if someone puts a dumb caption, well, you can delete that caption. You can hide, delete, report, and ban those people so that they never see anything from your page again, and then you're safe. So really, kind of go down the road a little bit. Voting is something that I also often see very frequently, which is you take two images. Sometimes if you don't have like Photoshop or whatever, you can use PowerPoint. Bring two photos into PowerPoint, put an A on one and a B on another. It could be like two kitchens or something like that, and just save that slide as a JPEG, and that turns it into an image file. And then upload it to Facebook and say, which one do you like better, A or B? And then you get A, B, A, B. Someone writes War and Peace about, why you should never be forced to choose, or what have you. And that way, again, you're getting engagement. You're getting people talking about you. And that's a score that Facebook really puts a lot of emphasis on. And the last one that I want to talk about is also milestones. And milestones are, and honestly, I can't remember if we covered this last week, and so I'm just going to bring it up again because I want it's that important. It's just an important aspect of your career that has transpired, that Facebook wants you to put onto your business page. You need 5 to 10 of them. I'd over-index as opposed to under-index on what those are. If you're new to real estate, you can put stuff like your education, any other kind of milestones in your life that are important, and so you can just kind of go from there. Hang on a second. Cambridge has lost power. So just so you guys know, I'm seeing your messages about Cambridge having lost power, and I'm aware of that. I will private message them afterwards, but the recording, they'll get the full recording. So if they're messaging you that they've lost power, please do assure them that they're going to get the full recording as soon as I get that rendered. Okay, so I just had a couple of people post that question, so I thought I'd address it just in case you guys thought I was ignoring it. I'm actually not. Okay, so milestones, very, very, very simple to create. You go to your page. So this is just a screenshot of my business page. You go to the 3 dots and you scroll to the bottom and you choose create milestone. You'll see this form appear here. You put the title, the location, when. So remember your start date. Last week we talked about the start date. You have to set that first, and then you can do your milestones going back in time. Okay, so you'd say when this particular milestone happened, give us a little story about it, throw up a picture. If you already have a page and you want to do 10 of these at once, but you don't necessarily want these to go out as a post, like as a piece of content, down that left-hand corner, you'll see hide from newsfeed. If you click that, it'll still go into your about section, which is where your milestones are kept, but it will not go out as content. So I generally, as a rule, will hide it from my newsfeed. I just want to make sure that the milestones themselves are there, because that's ultimately what the algorithm is looking for. Okay, so you need at least 5 to 10 of these. 10 if you can. 10's better than 5. And then you can kind of carry on from there. The algorithm just loves it. So when we do a Likealizer score, which is where we're getting to in just a second, you can go from a 60 to a 70 just by putting in milestones, and it can make a huge difference. Okay, hashtags is the last part. Now, Facebook got on the hashtag bandwagon about a couple of years ago, and unfortunately, they stuck with it. It used to be a big part of the algorithm. It isn't anymore, but it's still there. So you should use hashtags, like 1 or 2 times a week, 2 to 3 times at a time, or 2 to 3 hashtags at a time. And examples would be new listing, or like the name of the neighborhood, or hashtag open house. The rules are simply it's the number sign and then whatever words you want to use, no spaces. And what this does is if I wanted to do a search for hashtag open house or hashtag neighborhood, it'll bring me up all the posts that have that hashtag in it. So it makes your content a little bit more searchable. A lot of Facebookers don't get it, so don't over-index on hashtags. Like, knock yourselves out on Instagram. You can use 6 to 10 of them on Instagram, but if you put that onto Facebook, everyone's like, what is this number sign business? I don't understand. So try to minimize that as much as you can. All right, I know I've gone a little bit over today, and I apologize. I do just want to go over Likealizer. I understand if some of you need to go, that's fine. I respect that, because I have gone over our time a little bit. I'll just be another 3 minutes. And of course, everyone's going to get the recording. Likealizer.com is one of the tools I use to know from a content perspective, am I winning or losing at what I'm doing? You're going to get a score between 1 and 100. If your score is below 50, you got some work to do. 50 to 60, you're getting there. 60 to 70, that's what I call a solid showing. 70 to 80, you're doing great. Like, you're going to fluctuate back and forth, but if you're in the 70 to 80 range, then you're fine. 80 and plus, you are now in the top ranked pages on Facebook for the real estate industry. Okay, so Likealizer is a fantastic tool. Very, very helpful. You just go to likealizer.com. I just have it already up here. And then you type in your business page, right? So if I take let's screw up that thing. Let's see if it remembers. PTPS www.facebook.com/impetus consulting. Okay, so that is my username. So if you remember last week we talked about usernames. Okay, so that is my username. I am not the waste company. I am this one. It does take a few minutes, and hopefully it's not going to slow down the transmission. So you can see here I'm getting a like rank. And as per usual, the cobbler has no shoes. So 66 is not a terribly good score, to be honest. But the cool thing you can do is here, as you go down, it'll give you scores. You'll say your about section is at 90%, right? I don't have opening hours, so I should probably go put that in. It's giving me engagement. It's telling me what my activity is. It's saying that I'm okay. As you can see, I don't post often enough, right? So I need to get in there. At this stage, you know what? It's funny. I should just employ someone on my team to do this for me and just give up trying to do it all myself. My variation is excellent because it's telling me I'm posting good variations of things and so on. So it gives you all the information you need. There's X's for ways that you suck, response times being one of them, things that are useful. So tips that can help me fix the areas that I'm not doing 100% on and so on. So the Likealizer score that you get. Now, one of the things that I just noticed is this is actually a secondary step. For most of you, when you go in here, you're going to type in your Facebook business page. You're going to get sort of a summary. If you don't see that score, right? So you see, I thought you saw my score was 66. If you don't see that score, scroll to the bottom of the summary that you first see, and it's going to say, if you want more, like just log in with Facebook. That's okay. They're not stealing your information. They're not signing you up for anything. They're not going to take your credit card. All it's going to do is take you to this screen here that has the score on it and then give you much more information. You can get insights, benchmarks, and more. Okay, so I just wanted to explain that. I've realized that it's remembered that I've logged in as myself. And that's why it's taking me straight to that detailed screen. So you get a summary first. If you want to go further and get the detailed screen, there's a big blue box saying, do you want to give me access? And just say yes, and that's fine. Okay, so that does wrap it up. Thank you so much, guys, for hanging around with me. So quick thing on homework. I love to give you guys homework. I want to challenge you all to go check your Likealizer score. If you want, one of the things I could do, I haven't done this yet. So the last time I taught this course, I created a Facebook group. I'm going to talk to the managers about whether or not that would be useful to you guys or not. Regardless of whether you just keep it to yourself or you want to message it to me and sort of let me know what your score is at, figure out before you make any changes, what's your score? Then what I want you to do is I want you to post every day between today and next week. So your challenge is just for 7 days, post once a day, every day, using at least a couple of the tactics we've talked about today. Then what I want you to do is towards the end of the week or the 7 days, I want you to check your score again. You can check your score every day, right? It's certainly nothing will go wrong with it. But you're going to see that an immediate jump in your scores. Usually the jump is, I can see people, they've gone from like 23 to like 60s and 70s within a few days. The changes and the results are immediate, which makes it really, really awesome. So that wraps up what we're here for today. I'm just going to, if you have any questions, obviously you can post it in the group. And I'm just going to do a quick round robin with the different rooms and just see if there's any sort of live questions you guys want to ask. So Bob, you're at the top of my pile, so I am going to start with you. Hey, Bob.
I think. Good question. Oh, can we get these on video to watch it?
Bob, do you have any questions?
No, nothing great. We just have one question, but there was somebody wasn't here last week. We will get everything to be sent. Everybody in the room will be sent out a video link for this section. You can keep it on file.
And last week's as well.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, cool. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, so Charlotte, I think I'm going to unmute one of these. So one of those you're going to have to mute because I was probably going to go into feedback, but I'm going to give it a go. Here we go. Hey, Charlotte. Yeah. Okay. The one that I just did, mute the other one, Charlotte, and I'm gonna come back to you. Okay. So Heather, are there any, actually, Heather, do you want to, if you can just post in the question box, do you have any questions on your end? Because I know we kind of have to do something similar. And Charlotte, maybe you can post, if there's questions, I'll come back to you. So Heather and Charlotte, if you want to let me know if you have any questions. And Ivana, I know you don't have a microphone. So if you can let me know. So Louise, I'm going to take your first meeting room and then I'm going to go to your second one. So, hey, Louise.
Hi there. Actually, we're kind of all together.
Okay.
The question is, do you have to give your personal account the same kind of attention as the business page?
No, I mean, not really. It's really up to you. Because the more you call the benefit of giving your personal side the same amount of attention as your business is that remember that first part of the algorithm, which was about interest, and there's like an affinity, like how well people are friends with you and how much interaction and engagement you have. That does affect
Right.
it. But I know that there are people that don't have a lot of interaction on their personal side, and their pages do just fine.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Is that it?
That's it.
Cool beans, Aruni. Okay, so Charlotte. So Heather is good. Charlotte has no question. I can mute the other one because okay, yeah. So Charlotte, I'll just come back to you real quick, and then here we go. I am back. Any questions, Charlotte? Are you good? You're good. Okay, cool. All right, so I think that is everyone, and Louise is good. I haven't heard from Ivana, but I don't think Ivana has any questions either. All right, guys, so I'm going to stop the recording now.